Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. First off, can you believe that it's almost the end of the first month of the year already? Where on earth did that time go? So it has been a big month. It's been another big week, lots to get through. So let's get straight into it. So first up, it seems like Trump's talks of creating an ERS, an external revenue service, that could potentially, maybe one day, replace the IRS or the Internal Revenue Service, seems to be making some waves over here in Australia, and the powers that be are once again desperately trying to extract as much money from people as possible in case that should eventuate. And one of the simplest ways, of course, to do that is to introduce even more new ridiculous fines. Now, obviously, I spoke at the end of last year about how the various state governments are creating all sorts of new and ingenious ways to fine people, and it seems like they have picked right back up at the start of this year where they left off last year with a raft of new pointless fines. Now, first off, can you believe in WA they celebrated Australia Day by switching on a bunch of new traffic cameras? I mean, seriously, can you think of anything more un-Australian than the government doing that? Yet that's exactly what they did. So here's the article. If you are in WA or you know anyone that might be in WA, millions of Aussie drivers warned as roadside cameras with $1,000 fines switch on today. Alarming. Drivers are being warned of the threat of mobile phone and seatbelt offences as new cutting-edge cameras are officially switched on this Australia Day. It comes as one state has been branded consistently the worst in the country for road safety. From January 26, 6 new safety camera trailers will be introduced on roads in Western Australia to complement several more fixed safety cameras already installed. Now, keep that in mind because we're going to circle back to that. Hailed as the most advanced in the country, they will target mobile phone and seatbelt offences as well as speeding. Drivers caught out will receive a caution notice informing them about the capabilities of the new technology and give them an opportunity to change their dangerous driving behaviour before enforcement comes into effect. It's understood the enforcement period will begin in April with fines for mobile phone use as high as $1,000 and a loss of 4 demerit points. Royal Automobile Club of Western Australia, RAC, General Manager Will Goldsby told Yahoo News Australia, it's a welcome move. WA is consistently one of the worst states in the nation when it comes to road safety, and last year was one of the worst for road deaths in a decade. Now remember, we circled back. I said I'd circle back to the more fixed cameras already installed. So they've already got all these cameras installed, and yet it was the worst in the last decade. And what do they want to do? Fix it by installing more cameras. I've said it before a million times. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different result. Then it's got roadside cameras save lives on our roads. The RAC believes the cameras will help save lives and stop serious injuries. We look forward to seeing the technology rolled out, put to use and evaluated, he told Yahoo. Well, I wonder who's going to be doing the evaluation, because if it's the bean counters, then I'm sure they'll evaluate them as very effective. Accusations of revenue raising refuted by Road Safety Commissioner. The Acting Safety Commissioner hit back at suggestions the increased number of speed cameras is simply raising revenue for the government. These things are game changers, Rebecca Hamilton said. Really? Sure, as far as the government coffers are concerned, they are. Road safety crackdown doesn't end there. Following the introduction of the 6 new mobile cameras this week, it was revealed a tender is out for 4 more new smart cameras for Perth freeways. Once in place, motorists will face one of the most camera-concentrated stretches of road in the nation, with 9 cameras in one 25-kilometre stretch of freeway as the government ramps up its road safety strategy. So, I mean, there you have it. I mean, this is just nuts what they're doing. The cameras didn't work in the last year, but let's roll out more and hope that something different's going to happen. Now, there was actually a similar article also out of WA that expanded on some of those points, but interestingly, it categorically proves that these cameras simply do not work in the way that they claim. Now, some of the article just repeats some of the points I've just mentioned, but there are a couple of other interesting lines that I want to share with everybody. So this is the article. Again, it refers to what I just mentioned before. Pardon me, 9 cameras over 25 kilometres, game changer, freeway speed camera locations revealed. Weeks after 6 of the country's most advanced portable traffic cameras were launched by the WA government, a tender has been published calling for 4 new similar cameras, 2 for the Mitchell Freeway and 2 for the Kwinana Freeway. The cameras will be able to spot mobile phones being used, seatbelts not being worn, speeding, average speed, red X-lane violations, and can detect unlicensed vehicles. I'm not sure how you have an unlicensed vehicle. Not sure whether they mentioned whether they meant to say unregistered vehicle or unlicensed driver, but I don't know how you can have an unlicensed vehicle. But anyway, maybe that's just me. They will also use point-to-point technology to detect the average speed of each driver. These are in addition to the cameras already at Bateman and Como on the Kwinana Freeway and at Innaloo on the Mitchell Freeway. These fixed safety cameras will have the ability to identify a range of high-risk behaviours at once, including not wearing or incorrectly wearing a seatbelt. How is incorrectly wearing a seatbelt a high-risk behaviour? Certainly not to anybody else out there. Maybe to the person not wearing it, right? But that'd be about it. Using a mobile phone whilst driving and speeding. They will complement existing fixed safety cameras installed on the Kwinana Freeway at Gentili Way and Mill Point Road. A trial of a mobile camera pointed at just one lane on the Kwinana Freeway near Salter Point in November spotted more than 6,300 people using their mobile phones while driving and 5,100 people not wearing seatbelts, the WA government data showed. Now, as bad as the road toll was last year, if there was 5,100 people not wearing their seatbelt, and that is so high risk and dangerous, where was the 5,100 deaths that occurred? What about 2,500 deaths? What about 250 deaths? Nothing like the numbers that they're claiming are high risk, dangerous things. Had the camera been used to issue fines, it could have netted the Road Trauma Trust account anywhere from $5 million to $10 million, depending on the severity of the offences. So they're blatantly bragging about how much money these things are going to make moving forwards. The road safety strategy has set a target to reduce the number of people fatally, severely or severely injured on our roads by 50 to 70% by 2030. What an absolute joke. Seriously, it is just ridiculous. The road toll has consistently increased in WA, yet they want to magically snap their fingers, put out a whole bunch of cameras and reduce it by half in the next 5 years. Come on. But wait, there's more. Steak knives straight in the back. They want it to be reached at 0 by 2050. It is completely impossible. There is not a single country on the planet that has a 0 road toll. Okay, so it's just absolute garbage. Nearly 190 people died on WA's roads in 2024, the highest road toll for the state in 10 years. This categorically proves these cameras do not work. They've just told you they've, detected thousands and thousands of people doing the wrong thing, yet there was only 190 people that died. So which is it? Are these really high risk things or not? If they are, why didn't all of these cameras save all of these lives last year? Why is it the highest road toll in 10 years? It just doesn't add up. Once again, what do you know? So here we have their own evidence showing that despite the cameras already operating, the road toll is the highest it's been in 10 years, and they just blatantly brag about how much money they're going to make in the next few years despite this soaring road toll. Now, what makes this even worse is that it's not just happening in WA. The road toll across the entire country has increased at the highest rate since the 1960s, despite all of these new cameras being rolled out, because it's actually pedestrian and cyclist numbers that are increasing. And of course, those cameras do absolutely nothing to stop any of that. So, again, if you want to see the facts, the true facts, the real facts, I urge you to go and read this article. Now, I've only taken a small snippet, but there's a whole bunch of data, there's a whole bunch of graphs that are included online with this article if you want to look at it. So it says Australia's road toll hits 12-year high as pedestrian and cyclist fatalities rise. Government figures show that 1,300 people died on the roads last year in a rate of increase not seen since the 1960s. Australia's roads are getting deadlier as a 4-year period of surging fatalities marks a trend of increasing danger not recorded since the 1960s before seatbelts were compulsory. Now there's an idea. Put seatbelts in cars and actually make them safer. How about things like SRS airbags and ABS brakes? All these new technologies that make our roads safer. Nothing to do with cameras. They do nothing. How can a camera save anyone's life? All they can do is send a fine to someone in the mail 3 or 4 weeks later and hope that they're still alive in order to pay for it. That's the thing that people seem to forget. Last year's road toll was 18.5% higher than 2021 when a 10-year plan to halve road deaths was introduced. Again, impossible. Not going to happen. It's ridiculous. Pedestrian deaths rose from 156 in 2023 to 167 in 2024, a 7.1% increase, while cyclist deaths jumped from 34 in 2023 to 38 in 2024, an 11.8% increase. Although wearing a seatbelt in the front seat of cars became compulsory in Australia in 1969 and were required on all seats by 1971, the death toll has been increasing in recent years at a rate not seen since 1966. How many cameras, how many speed, red light, seatbelt cameras existed in 1966? A big fat zero. When were the majority of those cameras installed? In the last 10 years. What did I just read out about WA? WA had the highest road toll in the last 10 years. So it seems to me, and I'm just going off the data and the statistics, but it would seem to me that these cameras are actually contributing to more accidents and more deaths. How else can you look at it? If there was no cameras in 1966, they've really only been installed in the last 10 years or so, and now you're seeing the highest road tolls in a decade. You do the maths, you connect the dots, but they're certainly not, by any stretch of imagination, saving anyone's lives at all. Okay, that is a clear and obvious fact. I tell you what they are doing, and that is making a hell of a lot of money for the various state governments. Now, here's the thing. Stopping people from speeding excessively, and I'm not talking 2 or 3 or 5 Ks over, I'm talking speeding excessively, driving distracted whilst, using their mobile phones, driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. I can definitely get behind those strategies. Now, as I said before, mind you, cameras can't actually stop anybody from doing those things in the moment that they're actually doing them. But let's just put that aside for a moment, just a little bit inconvenient. But what I certainly cannot get behind is this kind of absolute blatant revenue raising. Now, have a look at this and you will just shake your heads. Are you ready? You're holding on. Drivers rage over $410 fine for common passenger move, load of rubbish. The New South Wales Centre for Road Safety has warned travellers not to recline their seat too far, as doing so could mean they're breaking the law. Can't make this stuff up, people. It's out there in the mainstream media. Aussies tempted to take a nap while riding in the front of a vehicle should think twice before reclining their seat, as lowering it too far could lead to a hefty ticket for not wearing their seatbelt correctly. According to the New South Wales Centre for Road Safety, seatbelts are required to sit low across the person's hips with the sash firmly across their chest and mid-shoulder. By reclining their seat, a passenger may inadvertently break the rule by leaving too much space between their chest and the strap, the organisation warned drivers online this week. Have you ever heard of anything so ludicrous? But then there's the subheading, which is the kicker. Annoyed drivers slam seatbelt detail as revenue raising. You think? The Centre for Road Safety's plea to passengers has angered some drivers on social media, with many claiming the small seatbelt detail was purely revenue raising. The use of mobile phone detection cameras to capture seatbelt offences began in New South Wales on July 1st, and within just 21 days, 11,400 fines were issued. Why? How many deaths were there? How many injuries were there because of these people that weren't wearing their seatbelts correctly? Then why the need to issue $11,500 fines for no reason other than to make money? Some motorists have since claimed they've been incorrectly penalised for the offence, with grainy images serving as supposed proof of the offence. A second driver that is able to take a nap and be well rested to share a long drive is pure common sense. It's almost impossible to sleep or nap in the more upright position, an annoyed man commented online. What a load of rubbish, another wrote, while others debated how far a seat needs to be reclined to actually be breaking the law. I mean, this is just insane, people. I mean, it is absolutely nuts. Surely people out there realise that the government is literally just laughing at them with these fines. Laughing all the way to the bank, mind you. Okay? And that ever-increasing road toll is just the absolute proof of this. So please, if you are sick and tired of being the butt of government revenue-raising jokes, if you're overpaying unjust and unlawful fines, then please grab a copy of that Aussie Speeding Fines book, turn straight to Chapter 3, and be sure to use that 3-step process, tried, tested and proven for 17 years now, to defeat all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. As always, you'll find a link in the description and also in the comments section. Now, speaking of being the laughing stock, it seems like that is what Dan Andrews is now starting to become, and the relentless pursuit to hold him to account, at least at some level, for just some of what he's done to Victorians, is really now heating up. So as the next article I'm about to go through details, the Mulemans are now suing Dan and Cath Andrews civilly for defamation for their continued claims that Ryan hit their car rather than the other way around. So this is the article on their GoFundMe page, and there will be a link going up again in the comment section if you're watching on Facebook. If you are watching this on YouTube, again, just look up that title and you'll find that GoFundMe page. So it's The People's Fund to Sue Daniel Andrews and Catherine Kessick. Daniel Andrews and Catherine Kessick sued for defamation. Major development as seen in the Herald Sun Tuesday, January 28th, so just a couple of days ago. Ryan Muleman and his family are suing Daniel Andrews and Catherine Kessick for defamation to expose the truth about what happened on the day of the crash and the lies perpetrated in the years since. This is our moment to hold Daniel Andrews and his wife Catherine personally responsible for years of lies about the near-fatal crash involving 15-year-old cyclist Ryan Muleman. So then it has the subheading, The Lies. For over a decade, this political couple have perpetuated the lie that Ryan caused the collision. But now, previously hidden evidence has come to light, proving that they caused the crash and almost claimed the life of an innocent child. Then the next subheading is the lawsuit. The case will require Daniel Andrews and his wife to take the stand under oath and submit to cross-examination. Their now adult children who were in the car on the day of the crash can also be cross-examined. So this is brilliant stuff. And unlike in previous public inquiries where Andrews has used lines like, I can't recall and I don't recall to mislead, they can be held in contempt of court if they lie and perjure themselves. Now that, I for one, would personally love to see. And then the final bit is criminal charges. Critically, if evidence of crimes are revealed during the case, that evidence will then be referred to the police, who will be pressured to finally lay criminal charges over the crash and the subsequent cover-up. So this is fantastic news and definitely something for everybody to get behind, especially those who've been screwed over in Victoria. So please, if you want to finally see the Andrews family held to account, please do give generously to the Muleman's GoFundMe account. And again, you'll find a link in the comments section. Now, speaking of being held to account, it seems like Mark Zuckerberg is well and truly being held to account by, of course, US President Donald Trump. Now, first of all, as we covered in the last week or so, Zuckerberg agreed that the fact checkers would be removed in order to comply with Trump's requirement for free speech with no censorship. And now, on the back of Trump's declaration that the US will only recognise 2 genders and all of these DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion programs are to cease, Zuckerberg is now towing the line again with the removal of transgender and non-binary themes from Messenger, and he's also discontinued Meta's DEI programs as well. So this is the article for those who are interested in learning more about this. It says Mark Zuckerberg orders removal of tampons from men's bathrooms at Meta offices. Meta also recently discontinued its diversity, equity and inclusion DEI programs and removed transgender and non-binary themes from its Messenger app. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has reportedly directed the removal of tampons from men's restrooms. Why were they there in the first place? In the company's offices, which had been provided to support non-binary and transgender employees who might need them. For what? A blood nose? Meta also recently discontinued its diversity, equity and inclusion programs and removed transgender and non-binary themes from its Messenger app. As per reports, these decisions are believed to be part of Meta's broader strategy to align its internal policies with the expected values of the incoming political leadership. Joel Kaplan, Meta's Chief Global Affairs Officer, defended the company's decision to end its DEI programs in an interview with Fox News Digital. Mr. Kaplan stated that this move will enable Meta to build teams with the most talented people. Exactly. How about you choose people that are most qualified for the position, not just because they're in a minority? Hallelujah. This means that evaluating people as individuals and sourcing people from a range of candidate pools, but never making hiring decisions based on protected characteristics like race or gender. The decisions have sparked intense backlash, of course they have, and debate across social media platforms. Not just Meta, several major companies are re-evaluating and rolling back their DEI initiatives following President-elect Trump's election victory. So long may that continue, and glad to see that is finally happening. So Trump is clearly, still making some serious waves, and of course inspiring lots of other people. Inspiring, I use the term loosely, call it what you will, to follow suit. And one of the biggest examples of that this week has actually been in Italy, where they're following in the steps of the US and they're exiting the WHO. So this is the final article that I want to cover tonight. And again, I urge you to have a look at this and pray that we can do something similar here. Italy's far-right League Party backs Trump's WHO exit. Italy must no longer have to deal with a supranational power centre, Matteo Salvini said. Italian Deputy Prime Minister and Transport Minister Matteo Salvini has proposed a law to follow Donald Trump's withdrawal from the World Health Organization. I presented this morning at the Chamber of Deputies the League's bill to leave the WHO, as did the United States with Donald Trump, Salvini, leader of the far-right League Party, said on social media Thursday evening. Italy must no longer have to deal with a supranational power centre, handsomely financed by Italian taxpayers, which goes hand in hand with the multinational pharmaceutical companies. Let's use those 100 million to support the sick in Italy and finance our hospitals and doctors. There's a radical thought. In response, WHO Director General Tedros, said the organisation is freezing recruitment and slashing travel to cope with the more acute financial situation. Let's hope that acute financial system becomes extremely dire or extremely non-existent very, very quickly. Let's hope they run out of money altogether. And please, I'm putting this out there to the universe as strongly as I can. Does somebody here in Australia who is in the position to do so have the guts to do the right thing and withdraw Australia from the WHO as well? I certainly hope that somebody answers the call. All right, and finally, to finish off, as I always do, I'm going to go through the latest feedback from some of our members, and of course go through the latest memes to get people thinking. Now, this is an interesting one. It's, look, take it or leave it, but this was posted anonymously on Facebook. It says, I posted here anonymously about a 3-month licence suspension in New South Wales that I was going to appeal for doing 153 kilometres an hour. Stupid, I know. It was a one-off moment and I've learnt my lesson. People were telling me I'd have the book thrown at me. I'd have no chance with up utmost certainty. I went to court this morning and had it reduced to 6 weeks. Shockingly, the kid before me who was caught driving while his license was suspended for 6 months with cannabis and alcohol in his system had his suspension reduced to a month, which I did find surprising. So you never know what a magistrate will do. If you think you have grounds, it might indeed be worth appealing your situation. Now, we certainly don't condone excessive speeding or any of that kind of thing. But again, as I've said a million times before, the minute you pay, that's it. It's all over. Nothing can be done. But at least by taking it to court, you've got a chance of having the fine reduced, having the suspension reduced, or having the outcome reduced in some way. All right, and then one other testimony that we've had sent through from Victor. It says, "Hi, Know Your Rights team. Just wanted to let you guys know of a recent court case that a daughter of my friend had. She was on her red provisional license in New South Wales when she went through a red light camera. I encouraged her to take the matter to court as she's only 18. She was a bit worried about it. When she got to court, she ended up pleading guilty with an excuse. She told the magistrate that she had her HSC in gymnastics and she had a momentary loss of concentration. It was a mistake. The magistrate reprimanded her and said that's not really an excuse at all. Then the magistrate said, this is your lucky day and this is your once-in-a-lifetime lifeline. The magistrate gave her a Section 10, no conviction, no fine and no loss of demerit points. She said she felt empowered by taking the matter to court. She didn't lose her licence, or did she have to pay a fine? Thanks again for all the knowledge you guys give. Regards, Victor." So please follow the steps in that Know Your Rights book. Okay, if the 3-step process doesn't work for some reason, if you're a little bit late in starting it, if you don't complete it all properly, then still take it to court, because there's 2 examples of people who had their penalties or punishments, whatever you want to call them, significantly reduced. But again, if you just pay up, you can't do anything. So please grab that book and keep fighting. And of course, if you want the absolute best chance of success, do make sure you grab our brand new court success pack. That does, of course, have our brand new affidavit and submission CD, the Constitution Commission reports, and all the FOI responses, okay, from the government that you can use in any court case to make your case as strong as possible. Again, you'll find a link in the comments, or you'll find that on our shop page. All right, so I'm going to finish off with a couple of memes. Now, sometimes we forget how crazy things were during COVID. Now, as I've said in the first few videos this year, they are really pushing for some sort of new pandemic. So please, don't ever forget this. Keep this in mind. Remember during COVID when refusing to show your papers for not wearing a face nappy could get you strangled. Okay? That stuff happened. Don't forget they fired rubber bullets at people just very peacefully protesting in Melbourne. Okay? Let's never forget that. This one, again, you know, we keep hearing about follow the science, trust the science, but, you know, in the last few years we've been finding out the truth about the science. So I tried to follow the science, but it simply was not there. Then I followed the money, and that's where I found the science. What do you know? Yes, we mentioned this last week when Trump came in, and there's a lovely little diagram of biology teachers after January the 20th teaching the truth again. So, as I said, thankfully the US has come to their senses and realised, of course, that there are only 2 genders. And this one I'm going to leave you with, because I'm sure many of you can relate to this, okay? And that is, it's weird watching people, okay, still direct their hate towards people telling them the truth and not actually those who lied to them. I still get messages, I still get emails, I still get posts, oh, you're this, you're that, you're everything else. I've been standing here in front of this camera for 5 years now trying to teach everybody the truth. But, you know, there are still going to be haters out there, and that's fine. I will continue doing what I can to wake people up as best as I can. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to make use of all the various resources that are available to you to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. These videos, of course, are completely free to watch on our videos tab on Facebook page, also our BitChute channel and our YouTube channel. Of course, don't forget we are back live next Tuesday. That is for our second live radio show for the year. So just click on the radio show tab. Again, you'll find that in the comment section. Just click the big black listen live button and you can tune in live for that completely for free. If you have missed any of our radio shows live, you do want to listen to the podcast with all the music edited out, all the rest of that, you can join up as a podcast member for less than $5 a week. So it is affordable to absolutely everyone. If you want to go above and beyond that, then please do grab our Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. Of course, that Aussie Speeding Fines book that I mentioned just before for challenging any and all unjust and unlawful fines. And of course, that Bank Secrets Revealed book. If you are struggling financially, please stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans, your credit cards, your personal loans. They can be very easily discharged with just a few letters. So again, these are all available individually. You'll find links in the description. You can get them all as part of the combo pack. You do, of course, get that tote bag included as a little bonus, no extra charge. Don't forget, we do have our caps available. Still a lot of warm weather around in many of the states, so please grab a cap, protect your head. People come up, they see the logo, they come and have a chat. It's a great way to meet like-minded people. And then finally, of course, our home study course, which is a complete recording of one of our 2.5-day live events. There's 17 DVDs, a CD with all the documents that we use ourselves, 3 custom-made workbooks. There's sections there that you can write notes next to every single slide from every single presentation. You'll come back to that again and again and again. So be sure to grab that. Of course, we will be formally announcing our dates and locations for our live events this year on Tuesday night show, and also formally locking in the webinars and the topics for this year as well. So you can get a sneak preview of that on our seminar page. Otherwise, do be sure to listen in on Tuesday night, and we will lock all those in and make tickets available. Other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I'll speak to you all again next Thursday night.